Welcome to Conversations. I'm Muqtadar Khan, your host, and today I want to talk to you very briefly about all the contradictory messaging that Donald Trump is sending across. So, for example, he says that we are successful in bringing about a regime change in Iran, and the new regime is much smarter than the previous one, and they're going to make a great deal with America. And then he tells us that the state of Iran is about to collapse. And apparently nobody knows who is in charge, and so they're not able to negotiate because their leaders are not in a position to negotiate. And then we get messages from Iran saying that they've completely rejected the offers of Donald Trump. They have made counter offers in which nuclear negotiations are going to be at the end of the whole deal. Ceasefire comes first, then the opening of the Strait of Hormuz. And Iran wants a long-term ceasefire and push the negotiations about the nuclear program towards the end. So there are all kinds of contradictory messages coming, partly because I think Donald Trump is often making premature announcements to the press. He has also made an interesting observation today, because we are now 60 days from the war started on 28th of February. And according to the 1973-74 War Powers Act that was passed by the Congress after the Vietnam fiasco, the U.S. president has to take permission from the Congress within 60 days of starting a military operation. So today is 60 days, or I think tomorrow will be 60th day. And he has no choice but to go back to the Congress, or he'll be in violation of U.S. law. So Donald Trump as well as Pete Hegseth have both announced that because of the ceasefire, the war is terminated. And this is the language they're using. The war is terminated, which means that if the United States were to attack Iran again without congressional approval and without a UN Security Council, let's say day after tomorrow, the US attacks Iran again because the ceasefire has failed or Iran has not fulfilled any of Donald Trump's demands. And then it would be a third time that the United States would be breaking international law. It is unbelievable as to how completely we now disregard international law. We just don't believe in rule of law anymore. It's might is right. So right now, the United States has violated international law twice. Once when they attacked Operation Midnight Hammer in June of last year, and now when they attacked Iran here, Epic Fury, this is the name of this operation, it's lasted 60 days. Donald Trump told us that within 3 to 4 weeks this operation will be over, Iran would collapse, the population would rise in opposition, there would be regime change, and they would install a clown called Pahlavi here, this joker, as king of Iran, and the first thing he would do is recognize Israel, and then he would spend the rest of his life and all of Iran's resources advancing Israeli interests like America. That was Donald Trump's promise, right? That we will defeat Iran, we will destroy everything. Even now he claims, even now Donald Trump claims that we have destroyed all of Iran's navy, we have destroyed all of its air force, we have destroyed its complete military capabilities. Then what's the problem? Why are you not able to open the Strait of Hormuz? If Iran has no military capabilities, then just send a football team. They should be able to open the Strait of Hormuz. Right? I find it so bizarre as to how it's just like a Twilight Zone as to how he can make these statements, knowing fully well that they are not true. His own intelligence is now telling him that Iran has about 50% of its missile and drone capabilities and stockpiles that it had before the war. It still has them. They've also been told that Iran has been rapidly building new drones and new missiles to make up for what the stocks that have been depleted. There's also a lot of chatter about how China is providing a lot of assistance, so is Russia, to Iran, and shoring up even their air defense system. So there is this talk about how Iran was able to shoot down the F-15E. So how did Iran do that if its navy and air force and everything was destroyed? I don't know what's going on. So at one point, Donald Trump is saying that the war has ended and the only way he's going to create leverage and pressure over Iran is by indefinitely keeping the Strait of Hormuz closed. And by blockading the Strait of Hormuz, they're going to put so much pressure on Iran's economy, which exports 10% of its economy. Like it's about $400 billion GDP, and $40 billion is about what Iran exports. Total maybe $90 billion worth of exports. 40 billion of that is oil. You know, the US defense budget is more than twice Iran's entire GDP. This is a tiny, small country compared to the US, and then two nuclear powers got together to attack Iran. It's unbelievable. But there's more to it. There's this reporting going on here in the Atlantic magazine that J.D. Vance has been asking questions in White House discussions where he's openly expressing his doubts and his skepticism about the reporting by the Pentagon. The rumor is that Pete Hegseth is lying to Donald Trump about the strength of U.S. military at the moment. There's a lot of talk about how the U.S. has run out of ammunition. And in order to rebuild and replenish its supplies, it has to work with China, because all the critical minerals and the magnets, etc., which are absolutely necessary for these weapons, come from China. China can freeze out U.S. weapons manufacturing. Talk about being independent and being, self-reliant. And then, on the other hand, the United States is now sending weapons in large amounts and soldiers. The amount of Marines and Navy personnel is constantly on the increase, even though one aircraft carrier is reportedly leaving the region. So there are two kinds of reports going. There's one report that about 6,500 tons of weapons have been transferred to Israel within one day. It's never ever happened. 6,500 tons of weapons have been transferred to Israel in 24 hours. And then about 30 massive airplanes brought military supplies into the Gulf. There are reports. I'll show you one report. There are reports like this all over. The U.S. approved arms sales of over $8.6 billion for Israel, Qatar, Kuwait, and UAE. So there's a lot of weapons that the U.S. is bringing into the region. And so even though Qatar says that it's shutting down U.S. bases, there are satellite images floating around that show that a lot of U.S. transport aircraft have landed in Qatar and they have been supplying weapons there. So is the U.S. planning another massive attack on Iran? And this time, whatever the U.S. is saying is going to be war crimes, whether they like it or not, to say we're going to hit the civilian infrastructure. There's enough videos now about Donald Trump and Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth out there which clearly says if they are in a court of law, then that will be a strong evidence that they had an intention to commit war crimes. Right now, with regards to the school children, where about 160, 170 girls were killed, they can say it was a mistake. We didn't intend to do this. It was an intelligence error. It was an AI error, whatever. But if they're going to say in advance that we're going to destroy everything that is useful, like power plants and bridges and schools and universities in advance, and then they do that, then there is no excuse. You intended to commit war crimes and you are committing war crimes. So it's really not clear what Donald Trump is trying to do. He's in a big trouble. The economy is going down. I tried to share with you, let me see if I can find a graphic which shows as to what a terrible scenario we have here at the moment in the United States. The inflation is beginning to reach, I think, 3.5%. It was below 2.9 a little while ago. And yes, this is what I want to share with you guys. Take a look at this infographic that I prepared. So what this infographic really shows is, I need to see a bigger version of it. What this infographic really shows is that oil prices everywhere in the United States in particular have gone up significantly. And so what I did was I took the top So if you look in the top box, it says most expensive states. So the top 3 states where gas is most expensive. In California, it was on February 27th, it was $4.75. Now it is $5.98. It's gone up by $1.23. In Hawaii, it was $4.42. These are really dark blue states with a lot of taxation. And so in Hawaii, it's gone up to 5.63, again 1.2321, $1.20 per gallon. And then in Washington, it's gone from 4.4 to 5.5. In Delaware, it was 2.9, and now it has gone to 4.15. In fact, the increase in Delaware is more than most of the other states. The national average right now is $4.11. Now, if you look at the circular ones, it shows the cheapest states. So the cheapest was Oklahoma at 2.38, Kansas. So it was roughly 2.4, 2.38 in most places, and now it has become 3.7. So roughly across the US, the oil prices have gone up per gallon by $1.20. And that is really very expensive, let me tell you that. And so I made a big mistake today. I had to go to a meeting. I will talk to you guys about that meeting. It was a meeting about U.S. Global Leadership Coalition, where people were talking about what's happening to U.S. leadership in the world. And so it was a luncheon meeting, and then as I got out, I realized I had to take my mother to the hospital to see something. And I noticed that my car didn't have charge, and so I ended up charging it during the day. And in the US, if you charge at different times, the charger for a Tesla costs more or less. So on a working day, if you charge it in the afternoon, it charges at a very high price. Usually I go at 11 o'clock in the night when it is the cheapest, and then you can get it. Saves a lot of money per charge. But what I'm trying to say is that, and I was thinking about people who in half of this country lives hand to mouth, which means whatever they earn, they spend. And so and a lot of us drive all the time everywhere in this country. So these gas prices is definitely going to hurt a lot of people, and it's also going to cause inflation because everything else is going to become expensive. So in spite of all of this, Donald Trump is just seemed to be stuck his mind in this Iran thing and his obsession. I think he wants to win desperately, and he's stuck there, and he can't leave there because he knows that once he leaves, then it will be considered as defeat. Already here, many analysts are saying that Iran has defeated the United States. And this should not be new. The Taliban also defeated the United States. Every time the US has gone and attacked a Muslim country, they have faced defeat. Yes, they've caused a lot of damage, fine, but they have politically failed. They lost to the Taliban, the poorest country in the world, the most backward place on earth. There's no other place. Its per capita income is $400. The United States is now $94,000 per capita, and we lost to Afghanistan, Taliban. Look, the Taliban is still in power, and nothing has changed after 20 years of nation building, invasion, and occupation. So Donald Trump doesn't want to have this thing, I think, in his history that, oh my God, I started a war that I lost. So he's somehow trying to put some pressure on Iran to make some concessions. And until now, Iran has not made a single concession. Not a single political concession. No matter how much they bomb, it has retaliated, it has hurt its allies, it has fractured GCC. UAE has abandoned its natural home in the Arab and Muslim world and is now out there hanging out with Israel and the United States and India. And good luck to it. Okay. So we are in interesting territory, but I really don't know what Donald Trump is trying to do. I can give you an update. He's not happy with the counter offer Iran made, so they sent another offer, Steve Witkoff, and they're waiting for the Iranians to respond to that counter to the counter offer. But Meanwhile, the Trump administration is escalating abroad with more and more weapons and is arming both Israel and the other allies in the Gulf, perhaps for them to defend themselves better if Iran attacks again. And at home, he's trying to basically lie to the courts and to the Congress by saying the war has been terminated. It cannot be terminated because he's still blockading Hormuz, which is an act of war. So as far as the Democrats are concerned, they're saying this war has not ended as long as you're blockading. And everybody else in the world is very, very upset with that blockade because, as you know, the price of oil hit $126. It is now at about $113. Before the blockade, it was at around $94. And before the war, it was at $65. So it's gone from 65. This is Donald Trump's gift to the world. From 65 to 113 right now. It's going to undermine a lot of global economies. India is going to suffer a lot because until now Modi was keeping a lid on the prices. Now that all the elections in Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Bengal and Assam are over, by tomorrow, day after tomorrow, there will be huge price increases in gas, petrol, LPG, everything in India in particular. And then we'll find out as to these poor sods who keep voting for Modi. They're not even smart enough to realize that they have been duped. They will find out tomorrow or day after tomorrow when the prices of oil begins to rise, gas, petrol, diesel, everything will go up, including LPG, the cylinders and gases for cooking gas, whatever. And then one final thing, even the blockade of Hormuz is not working. Apparently 34 ships have already left Iran. And what they are doing is they're hugging the coast. So Iranian ships are hugging first the Iranian coast and then the Pakistani coast and then the Indian coast. And they're not going into international waters. So the US military and Navy cannot attack them. So by staying in Indian waters and Pakistani waters and Iranian waters, the Iranian ships have been able to evade the US Navy, which is operating in open seas. So that is an interesting development, and I don't know why the US Navy is not attacking ships which are, say, in Indian waters. Is India going to object? India didn't say a thing. When Iris Dina was destroyed, an unarmed ship with no weapons was double tapped. The first torpedo was to drown it, the second torpedo was to kill all those soldiers and sailors on it who had no weapons. So this is an interesting development. And then there's this news that Pakistan has opened 6 land routes from Iran to its ports, to Gwadar and other places in Karachi. And so Donald Trump said that he's aware of it. Let me play a video. I think it was an Indian reporter that asked Donald Trump about it and see what he said.
Are you from Pakistan? I have great respect.
So this is today. This is what the reporter asked. He says, do you know that the Pakistan has opened all these land routes from Iran to Pakistani ports? This is going to bypass Hormuz. Iran can sell oil by putting it on train, already selling oil to China by train. So this is the question, and this is how Trump answered it.
Pakistan, thank you, Mr. President. Pakistan has opened the land route with Iran. Did they consult you before opening it up to Iran? And are you aware of it?
That was a vicious bee. I know everything about it. Yeah, I have great respect. Are you from Pakistan? I have great respect for Pakistan and for the Field Marshal and for the Prime Minister. Yeah, I know.
So this is what this reporter, probably is an Indian reporter, the accent is quite clear. She asks him that, are you aware that Pakistan has opened land routes from Iran to Pakistani ports? And he says, yes, I'm aware of that. I'm fully aware of that. And I'm very, respectful of the Field Marshal and the Prime Minister of Pakistan. I like them, respect them a lot, whatever. So, but the point is that right now, I think the Pakistanis have opened up for just trade. So it's not oil, I think. And at some point, if there is a deal, I think Pakistan is hoping that they will get an okay from Washington as a reward to trade with Iran. And so Iran will be able to export not only that, but I think that Iran will also open the pipeline. There is a pipeline already from Iran to the Pakistani border. The Pakistanis have not built their end of it. Then they will start building that. That will be the biggest goal for Pakistan, or biggest, shall we say, gift to Pakistan from Donald Trump if they succeed in their diplomacy. Anyway, so thank you for watching Conversations. I hope you found today's discussion interesting. And if you have not read my recent articles, I had 2 articles yesterday or day before yesterday in Frontline and The Hindu. I was very thrilled. I said it was like scoring 100 in every innings of a match. So anyway, if you have not, please go and read it. And then I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I have some wonderful interviews, 2 very interesting interviews that are coming through. One that I'll record tomorrow, so you will see it exactly 24 hours from now. And then another one that I'll record tomorrow night at this time. And so it will be available to you 36 hours from now. So look forward to those 2. Please come back. And thank you for watching Conversation. Abhishek is here. So let me just take a question or his comment. What does he say? He is a member. Abhishek, sir, I'm completely 1 month after my master in physics and future things PhD or MS in machine learning in US, Europe, which is going by good for me. Please suggest, sir. So the PhD will take you 4 or 5 years, Abhishek, and things are changing so much. It is very, very difficult. For example, my sister is an expert in AI and robotics, and she wrote a book on mobile apps. This was about 7-8 years ago. It took her a year and a half to write the book. The book became obsolete in 9 months or a year. She was telling me, Bhaiya, the book has become obsolete because technology has changed. So what's the risk of doing a long graduate program, like joining a PhD program, is it takes 4 to 6 years. And things keep changing so fast. But there's a lot of funding for research in the fields that you are suggesting. So if you're coming to the US, then definitely apply for PhD. It's easy to get money than for masters, which are masters are less competitive, but there's no money. But there's more money for you available for PhD. So in sciences in the US, the funding is given by professors. Like if you want to study with me, then the funding for you, for your PhD will come from my department, not from me. I don't have money to give to support a PhD student, which will cost about 50, 60,000 or more per year in dollars. But in engineering and scientific field, the professors have the money. So if you're applying to physics or engineering, mechanical, chemical, then the professor who has a huge grant from somewhere, NATO here and there, will say, oh, I need 3 PhD students this year. And he's not worried about the market or jobs. He just wants 3 competent people to be his slaves for 4 or 5 years while he has the grant. And so he will hire you to do his research or teach in place of him while he does research. So in that way, so the professors decide the funding. So if you say, I'm coming for a PhD, then the professor knows, okay, I have him for 5, 6 years. So he will fund you. But if you say, I want to come for a master, then, oh shit, he's going to leave in 1.5 years or 1 year. I'm not going to invest in this guy. And so funding becomes more difficult. So that's how you make a decision. And right now the focus is all AI, robotics. So it doesn't matter what your background is, whether you're mechanical engineering, civil engineering, whatever. You have an engineering background or you have a master's in physics, that's great. Because you need 10 plus 2 plus 4 to come here for a PhD directly. So if you have a 4-year bachelor's degree like an engineering BTech in India, don't even apply for master, just apply directly for PhD. And you will get it. So all the best, Abhishek Tiwari. You already have AI in your name. Go for it. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody. Bye.